Hey everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm back with a follow-up gameplay review for the Redmi Note 10 Pro. So you probably saw the video that I already did showing off the gameplay footage for PUBG, for Call of Duty Mobile, for War Robots, some of that stuff. Well, I had a lot of people asking like, hey, can you check out Fortnite? And can you also look at some of the differences between like the regular settings and the high settings and stuff like that? So I went in, I put Call of Duty Mobile on the high settings, and I also went in and I got some gameplay footage for Fortnite on the low settings and on the medium settings because those two are both relatively playable. So I wanted to show you this, and we'll go ahead and dive straight into the action. But before we do that, I do want to say if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. So the first game that I want to take a look at is Call of Duty Mobile again. And on the last video, I showed the gameplay on just the regular settings, stock, factory. I didn't change anything. It was on high. Now I'm changing the graphic quality to very high. And I'll have it on frame rate for high here so you can see what it looks like. And of course, you can adjust the frame rate as well. But on the high graphic settings, this is what I wanted to take a look at so you can get a feel for what the game looks like on the highest graphic settings and not just the standard ones. But even on the standard ones, I think it looks pretty good. So let's see what the gameplay looks like here. Okay, 2 seconds to go time, and let's go. So Call of Duty Mobile, of course, like I said, it looked perfectly good on the standard high settings, but on very high here, you can see that the textures are increased, the overall graphics quality does look better, and I don't know, maybe it makes me a little bit better player. This game actually went a lot better than my last one. But you can see here, even with the Snapdragon 732G, it looks and it runs perfectly fine, even on the highest graphics setting that's available. So I think that that's really important. Also, you can see the kill streak here with the airstrike. You can see that it works. I mean, with the Predator missile, you have no problem. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't get choppy. Nothing in this game was able to slow it down while I was playing, so I'm really happy to show off and to be able to report that the game works perfectly fine even on the highest settings that you can do, so that's cool. Now on to PUBG. In here with the graphic settings as well, you can see here it says notice coming soon on a lot of these. So I have frame rate set to highest, and then it's on HD. HDR, Ultra HD, and all that stuff is not available. Ultra HD, of course, because it doesn't have a Quad HD Plus resolution screen, but being able to put it on high frame rate and on HD, which is as high as this game will support, it works perfectly fine. And that's what I played the game on last time, but I want to go ahead and show you some more in-depth footage here so you can get a good feel for it. So this time I'm going to hop on the motorcycle, we'll ride it around a little bit, and you can see everything is nice, it's smooth, it's responsive. You don't have any issues at all driving the vehicle around. I wish it had like a joystick controller as opposed to all these buttons, because there's kind of a lot of buttons to push when you're doing things. But as you can see, it works perfectly fine whenever you're driving around. Oh, here's a guy, found him. So he didn't last very long. The last gameplay footage video, I was running around trying to find people to engage because I wanted to have some decent gameplay footage in here. I'm happy to report that this one worked out a little bit better. So you can see here, I was able to find some clothes too, which was really important. But yes, the gameplay on this game works perfectly fine. I did not have any issues with it. This is just like it was on the other gameplay video that I showed off. You will have absolutely zero issues playing this. And the other things that are nice, of course, are the stereo speakers, because you've got stereo sound, speaker on the top, speaker on the bottom, and the 120 hertz refresh rate. So all of that works really well with this, and it makes for a really enjoyable gameplay experience, whether you're playing Call of Duty Mobile, or you're playing PUBG, or you're playing other stuff. Now, time for some Fortnite. You ask, I am delivering. I've got it set up here, and we'll go into the settings, and you can see what the options are here. It's set on 30 frames per second, and for this one, I'm going to go ahead and switch the graphics settings to low, so you can get a feel for that. But the auto set graphic settings for this are actually on medium. You'll see here in a minute, once we get to the medium gameplay, that low settings does work a little bit smoother, but there's not too much of a noticeable difference. And I wanted to leave this part in here just so you could see how long it actually takes for the game to load up. It doesn't take long at all, and I was really impressed with that. Sometimes you get some games or some phones where they have really, really long load times just to get you into the game. And then once you get into the game, it runs okay. But the load time on this really wasn't bad at all. And I'm glad that the guys at Epic Games really have this set up well for Android, because I remember when it first came out and you basically had to have a top of the line phone that cost a lot of money to be able to play this, and it was very limited, and now they have so many different phones that you can use. So it's just crazy to me that you can get a phone for under $300 that has all these settings available to you and that you can play Fortnite. So I wanted to show this off. You can see the launch with the party bus flying in, and we'll jump out here in a second and you can see what it looks like as you're falling down to the earth. When you're up high like this, and when you get ready to jump out like this, you can see there is some stuttering. But once you get going, it kind of spools up and it's not really an issue. And it's because you're seeing so much of the world all at once. Once you get down to the ground level, it is actually better. So I wanted you to be able to see that as well, just so you can get a feel for what you're going to experience whenever you play this. Of course, it's not as good as like flagship phones and phones with more capable hardware in them. But for a less than $300 phone, I think that it works perfectly fine. I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of complaints. It's definitely playable. And here we go. Now that we're on the ground level running around, you can see that it actually runs pretty smooth. No problems with looking around, running. We'll go ahead and pick up this item over here. You can see there are some moments where it will kind of stutter a little bit, but I think that's just kind of because the game just started up. I didn't have too many issues with it once I got to running around more. And I don't think it makes it where the game is not playable. Now, of course, ideally, yes, you would like to have a more powerful phone, but if you want something that's not going to cost you a lot of money, that will allow you to play stuff, then this is definitely an option. And then if you play custom games, you play things with different modes, smaller maps, it will make the playing experience a little bit better. But as you play on this larger map, if you do a lot of building and things like that, maybe that might cause some problems. I don't know how much people really build playing this game handheld, but it's definitely not on the same level as when you're playing with a controller or on the mouse and keyboard. But this is it for the low settings on 30 frames per second. Now we're going to switch over to medium settings. Okie dokie. Now we're going to put it on medium settings. We're going to leave it on 30 frames per second. I'm not going to play it on 20 frames per second. It looks just fine on 30. You really don't want to have to turn it down that low. So here we have it on medium settings so you can see what this looks like now, and we'll go ahead and get into the game. And I didn't leave the loading screen this time. It really wasn't substantially different, but you can see here just running around. We'll get ready to hop on the party bus so you can see that as well. But the game itself is a little bit more laggy. Once you get into doing things, it's not so bad, but definitely as you first get into like the staging area or when you jump out of the party bus, you can see there it is kind of choppy. We'll go ahead and finish falling down to the earth here, wait for the parachute to open so you can see this as well. And I really wanted to look at both of these individually just so you can get the best feel for how well this game is going to perform. Because if you want to play Fortnite, you really need to be able to see what you're in for, what you're expecting, because having a lot of lag and choppiness is something that will get you killed very quickly in this game. So you can see here it gets a lot better as you get down closer to the surface. And we'll go ahead and tear through this roof so I can find some weapons and all that other jazz. But overall, you can see it doesn't look substantially different from the low settings on the graphics once you get into doing things. Now, when you're falling, whenever you can see a whole lot of stuff that's going on, probably when there's a lot of building, then I would expect that this might not be able to handle it as well. So my recommendation would be, if you're going to play, that you should probably play on low. And that's just because you're going to get the best possible performance. And on top of that, it doesn't look too much terribly different. So I think that that's something that is very doable. And I also think that for a phone of this caliber, that really, it's a pretty decent experience. And oh look, we finally found somebody. So we'll go ahead and take care of him real quick. But you can see medium settings, one guy running around in the town, really, it handles it pretty well. And I didn't have any problems at all. So that's pretty much it for the Fortnite gameplay footage. Alright, so that's pretty much it on my gameplay footage review on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, taking a look at Fortnite, also some more footage on PUBG, and then also taking a look at Call of Duty Mobile as well. Now, you could see here in the Fortnite footage, you are capable of playing it on this phone. I tested it out on low and on medium settings at 30 frames per second. You can't change it to high, you can't go ultra high, none of that stuff. It detects what the phone is capable of, and the only two options it gives you are low and medium. And I showed it off on both of those. As you can see, it is playable. Also, I checked out some more PUBG footage just to give you a little bit more opportunity to see how well that works and you can see it runs perfectly fine too, and it caps out at high. No high definition, no HDR texturing, there is no option for HDR or higher. It stops at high with this phone. That's what's supported. And then also taking a look at Call of Duty Mobile on the highest settings available there too, and you can see that it is definitely a graphics improvement over just the regular settings, and it runs really, really smooth. It has absolutely no problems whatsoever. That is a great game to play on this phone. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.